What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a couple different pill containers slash vial cache systems, different stuff like that. And I have a couple on the table that are preloaded. These aren't the ones we're going to take a look at, but I've gotten a couple comments lately asking about different ways to carry pills or different containers and cache systems, and so thought I'd make a video on it. Now the reason I haven't already made a video, even though I have a decent amount of them, is I never really know what to put in them. Outside of a couple which I'll mention, I just don't really have that much of a need for them, I guess, and so I end up accumulating a bunch of them but not actually using them, with again a few exceptions. And so would love some suggestions in the comments of what type of stuff you put in these different containers, especially if you have any of these specific containers, what you use them for, because I would love some ideas so that I can start using them more, because I do like them. I just, outside of those couple, don't really have a daily use for them. But the reason I'm not talking about the ones on the table is these ones come kind of preloaded, and there's a bunch like this. So this first one's a little bit less EDC. This is a King's Wild test tube puzzle. It comes with 140 pieces, but you could repurpose this container, although you'd probably want to keep it just to keep that image. But this one, you kind of know what's going to go in there. Same with this one. There's not really a whole lot of thought that goes into it. It's from Zippo, and this is their fuel canister, so you can refill your Zippo lighters on the run. Not the butane, obviously, the standard Zippos, but you can store about a full Zippo's worth and completely refill your Zippo. Also has a small spot that will carry flint on it. So nice kind of all-encompassing kit for the most part. And that one, again, you can't really change it up. This one you could change up, but you probably wouldn't want to. This is the Spy Stick from It's Tactical, and they preloaded this with a bunch of kind of gray man EDC, some lockpicks, and other urban survival type stuff. You can see there's a cap in the end. Seems like it's perfectly made for this chapstick, and that's because it probably was made specifically for that, or at least some of it was. Now this one, a little bit more obvious. This is just a stormproof match container from UCO, but you could repurpose this. It does come with that striker installed, but you can make this into a full kind of fire kit if you wanted by removing half of those and putting some other tinder and a second fire starting source in case the matches won't work for whatever reason, your striker's really wet. I don't know, a couple different options, but not really looking for feedback so much on that. But with the rest of these, if you have ideas on what to put in them, definitely let me know. I'm going to show a bunch that I have that are still available, or I know at least go on sale from time to time if they're not currently available, because I didn't want to include a bunch of stuff that you can't find anymore, or that I just didn't know where it was from. I have a bunch of generic ones that are from like Amazon or random places that no idea where they're from, and so not so useful. So I'm looking for feedback on what to put inside, but I'm also sharing these containers, hoping you find something you like. If you're in the market for one of these, have a lot of different options on the table. A lot of them are from one place, but there's a little bit of variety. Now I'm going to start with the obvious joke and start this out with a bang, and that'll be obvious in just a second because I'm talking about the Tech Accessories D-Cache. And this one is clearly modeled after a stick of dynamite. Don't worry, it's obviously not really. This is a hollow container that's meant for storing gear, but it has this wick system, which is just a funny little system. You can buy different colors of wicks, so if you have a bunch of these, maybe a bundle of them, you can put different wicks in there so you can identify what's inside based on the color. Now, if you don't really care for that full dynamite look and you just like this container, it is a nice red aluminum, you can get different end caps for it. So it comes on the other side with one installed. I chose to go with the Embright. This is the aqua color, which glows in the dark, but there's also a glass breaker cap and a compass cap, so you can put different types of caps on there. But these twist off. One side, the side with the wick, is really squeaky, so I'm going to need to oil it. The other side's not so much, but I already started on this one, so I'm just going to finish opening it. You can see there's a O-ring on there so that it is waterproof, and inside I have stored a single cigar. Now, this doesn't contain humidity at all, really. It's not going to be a long-term storage solution, but really good for transporting a single cigar. This is a 5" by 50, and so you can fit a 6" in there. 7 inches is going to be a little bit too long. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about dimensions, just because all of them are listed on the website and it would make the video a lot longer. So if you're interested in the dimensions, if you're interested in the specific one, I will put links to everything, but just check the dimensions to make sure it'll fit what you want. I didn't want to go through both external and internal dimensions for all of these just because it would get a little bit repetitive, I think. Now next up is a dual pass-through titanium cache from Countycom. And so this one I picked up for a very specific reason for what's inside. This is what's always inside, and that is 5 dice. Now I got the titanium dice from Countycom, but it'll fit standard dice as well for the most part. And this is seemingly made for it. It's definitely not really. They sell them separately, but they do suggest that you can put 5 dice in there. And oftentimes when I'm buying dice, I buy 6 of them so that I can use 5 for Yahtzee and have a matching set. And so I do have a 6th one of these that you'll see later in the video. Both sides of this open. It is titanium, which is nice. So you're paying a similar price for half the size of container, but one's going to be aluminum, one's going to be titanium. This one's also a little bit just more pocketable or throw it in your backpack. It does have a small opening that you can put a lanyard or a keychain on there. I don't. I just toss it in there with some Yahtzee cards. Like I said, I bought this specifically as a Yahtzee set, and so that's kind of the idea behind that one, although it would work really well in a lot of different situations. This one also has a lot more just kind of machining on it compared to the straight aluminum body on this one for a little bit more grip. So when you're twisting it, your fingers catch those grooves really well. And so do like that one quite a bit. And then a similar one, but a lot more budget friendly. This one's from El Cohen, and this is an Amazon brand, I think. I've never seen them anywhere else. And another aluminum body. It's got this nice knurling on it and these cutouts and machining. So this one's a lot more machined as well. This is only $9 and available in a bunch of different colors. There's a nice opening at the top to, again, add a lanyard. You can even put a carabiner on there or a keychain. And so a lot of options with this one. Twist off as well. Almost all of these twist off ones are going to be waterproof. I don't know that there's really any exception, but I'll try and mention it if there is. Now, this one I just have some BBs that I use for slingshot. I prefer the biodegradable ones actually, but these ones happen to be in the same drawer that I have all these containers in, and so I figured I'd just fill that up with that. Now, don't actually have a use for this one yet, but I bought it as a fire kit. That's obviously why I went with orange. You can get a green or black, anything like that. But I bought this one as a fire kit. I think that's how I plan on loading it out. But if you have other ideas, let me know in the comments. But I think that orange is perfect for that. Now let's look at something a little bit different. We've done a couple tubes. We have a couple left, but let's look at this one, which we just got in the Countycom Mystery swag pack for May. And so this is a titanium strong box, and it is sliding. I believe it only slides one direction. I think it's this direction. I have that, maybe the other one. No, it's definitely this direction. So this one, obviously a little bit tough to slide if you don't get it at the right angle. Once you get it, it's really easy. There we go. It's really easy, but there is a ball detent in there. I think I also have it a little bit overloaded with Tic Tacs because it will hit on those, so that could be partially why you can see why it's not sliding as well. But it does slide a little bit easier than that. You just have to get it past that vault detent typically, and this will slide all of the way off. Topo pattern on the top. I believe this one's $30 and can fit a lot of different things. Mine, well, I didn't buy this one since I got it in mystery pack, but what I tend to use this for is bits, and you'll see kind of similar ones. I'm actually just going to go through all of these box ones right in a row. I believe those are around $30 if I remember correctly. Might be 35, but around there. Now, two similar ones. These both have a topo pattern but different materials. We have a Delrin strong box, and this one is going to run you $20 and has that topo pattern. There's a bunch of different sizes of the Delrin. Same kind of concept, except it has a ball detent on each side, so it's not one directional. And you just, again, slide it past that detent, and it has a half stop as well. Inside of this one, I have 6 1/4-inch bits, and so this is what I bought it for. This is what I use it for. Perfect for 6 bits. It does rattle, so if that bothers you, might not be a great option. You can probably find some sort of fabric to put in there to dampen the noise, but it will rattle with them in there. I don't mind that so much because I'm not necessarily pocket carrying it. It's going in a pouch or backpack, but really love these for that. And recently they released a new version, and it's not actually out yet, but they did an early release of 100 of them, which I grabbed. And these ones are $10 more at $30. Same exact thing, except in Ultim. In here, I have 12 miniature dice in copper and brass. These are also from Countycom. You can see the copper ones are that more pinkish color. Some of them are more patina than others because I just got some of these in that same mystery box, but also have the brass. Same kind of general idea. I always buy 6 when I buy dice, just so I have, or at least 5 if you can buy 5, but usually you're buying them in 2s. And so have 12 dice in there. Seems like a nice little storage system, but do intend to use that one for bits as well. Just kind of different bits on different days. Now, last of those, again from CountyCom, I know this is getting repetitive, but that's where a lot of these came from. And that's their Matchbox. The Matchbox is $30, and similar topo pattern. Really like the machining on this one because they added these 2 circles that add a ton of grip to it. And so it's really easy to just slide that in and out. And the grip is really, really effective. I think that's the purpose of the topo pattern on the Delrin, but the topo pattern on the titanium is just like laser etched on there. You can actually feel the pattern. And so wouldn't mind seeing that on the other box because it is really effective. Now this one is clearly made for matches, although you can use it for whatever you want. They do send some match striking pads that you can stick onto the sides, but if you're using it for something else, of course, don't stick them on there. Also, really nice, you can attach a lanyard or keychain on this one. So that's the last of the boxes. The boxes, honestly, are much, much easier for me to fill. I know exactly what I want to put in them usually, and so don't necessarily have as much of a hard time filling them as I do for these more canister or vial style ones. So let's do a few of the small ones. This is the Pico Pool from CountyCom as well. This is the same material as that box, that Delrin, and it just twists on and off. Don't know that this one is necessarily watertight. It'll be water resistant, but there's no O-ring on it. Maybe I could probably just throw a generic O-ring on there, but there was no O-ring on this one when I got it, and so not sure if it's meant to be watertight, but it's gonna keep stuff dry for the most part, not necessarily if you wash it, but in the rain. So I just have a single Tic Tac in there. This one actually will fit 2 of those dice, the mini dice, obviously not a regular size. But the cool thing about this one, the price is really budget friendly at 10 bucks. 2, it has this little lanyard holder keychain, so you can use this as a zipper pool, which is why they call it the Pico Pool. And so you can toss this on a zipper and use this as a pool, never really lose it. If it's on your backpack or something like that, you'll always have it with you. And so I don't actually take any pills outside of the house on a daily basis. The only pill I take on a daily basis is a daily multivitamin, but good for throwing in like Advil and allergy medicine, Benadryl, whatever you want in there. Now this next one, I have a little bit of a harder time with, no idea what to do with this. And this is from CountyCom as well. I'll put the link to it. I don't remember the name or price of this, but titanium, and it comes in just raw titanium. I was testing out anodization on this one. Also have a single Tic Tac in here. Now the reason I say I have a harder time with this one is it's so skinny that a lot of pills don't fit. I can't fit an Advil in here. I can't fit my daily vitamin in here. I can fit like something small like a Zyrtec, that kind of thing, but a lot of pills don't necessarily fit. So this one seems more specific use cases. If you're taking larger pills or wider pills, just know that they're not going to fit in here. And so that one's a little bit smaller, and all of these are smaller internally, so pay attention to the internal dimensions as much as you do the external. Let's go with another small one from CountyCom. This one's a little bit more almost disposable. I got a 10-pack of these in the recent monthly swag bag, and so in this one is kind of a fire kit specifically built around Zippos, similar to the one we got minus the fuel. And so this has 3 flints in there as well as an extra wick. And so the flints store pretty well the way they send them, but the wicks are in these like paper wraps, and so this just seems like a better way to store them long term to me than the paper wraps that they come in. I don't know if that's actually true, but I'm going to transfer a bunch of them over because I ended up with a ton of these wicks. I probably have like 30 of them and probably 100 flints, and so I'm gonna make a couple of vials for them, so I just have little refill kits ready to go. So that seemed like an obvious option. There's 10 of them, really budget friendly. I think that 10 pack was under $10, so less than $1 a piece. It was like $6 or $7, and so got that in the subscription, but glad they included it because it does seem like it would be useful for that. It would be useful for like seasoning if you're going camping. It's containing small items. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. Now, kind of moving back up in size, not quite to the full size here yet, but this one is from EDC Fans, and I don't know if they're the original designer of this, but you can find a ton of these on Amazon with this like missile type design. It has a glass breaker on the front, opens in the middle, loses a lot of space. It's about 3 inches long, but only 2.5 inches of usable space. And in this one, I put a sewing kit. So I have a couple buttons, a couple sewing needles, some a spool of thread, as well as this random cog gear. I think this is just meant as a bead. It glows in the dark, but it fit in there as well, so I figured might as well throw it in there. Now, I do have a thimble as well that was a little bit too big. I think most of the ones you get in like a sewing kit, those little cheapy ones, would fit, but the kind of bigger ones that you're buying intentionally a thimble, those are a little bit bigger. They don't necessarily fit in there, so have a mini sewing kit in there. Probably not the perfect one for a sewing kit. A lot of the other ones would actually be better, but it worked and carried them. Now this next one I got in an older CountyCom monthly subscription. This is the Tubaton. The original version opens on both sides just like that dual pass-through, but is a little bit longer and slimmer. This is the original at, I believe, $70. There's a skinny version as well as a thicker version, but don't have either of those. I don't know that I would pay that much for this, but have a couple Wazoo items in there, some just kind of line as well as some wire. And so those come pre-packaged in this straw so that they're nice and compact for their cache clothing, their hats and their belts and stuff like that, but threw that in there. This actually came out pretty cool. It's titanium, but I anodized it, and so it has that kind of brass look to it, which I think looks pretty good. I did mess up where the keychain attaches a little bit. I don't know how well that'll pick up, but that's a little bit purple, but for the most part, I think it looks pretty good, a kind of antique finish to it. And so like how that one came out, really pricey though, so not sure I would pay that for it because, again, I don't know what to put in these, so just came up with random ideas. Now, two left, almost at the end here. The next one's from Matador. This is their travel canister, 1.35 fluid ounces, 40 milliliters, $10 for these, and a little bit unique because instead of a twist off, you have a rubber top, and that's really, really secure. So I built a mini survival kit in here. Nothing to write home about, just a couple survival items, starting with this Exotac striker. This is just a striker that throws sparks, doesn't have any fuel system, although if you twist it off and pull, there is a piece of tinder inside of there, so that's kind of cool. Have a bunch of these strikers. Threw this one in there intentionally because I didn't actually show that very well. When the cap is on, you can see that it sticks out just a little bit, which you can't do with any of those twist-on caps because they're all made of metal. But with this one, there's a little bit of leeway to put a little bit larger items that are longer than your canister. Now, outside of that, threw a couple additional pieces of tinder in there. Nothing special. A mini Tubaton, not really usable as a Tubaton because of its size, but it's modeled after their full-size Tubaton, glow in the dark as well. And then a utility knife, this one from Violent Little Machine Shop, just a small utility blade that fit in the canister wall. Now, last item isn't really sold for that, but mentioned it with the puzzle, is just this test tube from CountyCom. They come in this color as well as a blue with white cap. I have both, and they're really, really durable, much thicker than the puzzle container. It's not just packaging, it's a really thick material, so it'll protect whatever you throw inside. And I thought these were pretty cool. I think they did sell them at one point, but every one that I have, and I have probably 5 or 6 of them, have come with gear inside. And so when you order gear that will fit in it, sometimes I'll put it in there as the packaging. This just twists off. It can fit about 7 dice, or 8 dice probably. I think I have 7 in there actually. So these are the Ultim dice, also from CountyCom. Newer release. I got them a little bit early because they released 100 of them, and so I picked up 3 sets. They come in sets of 2, and got them a little bit early, but those are coming soon. And then this is the last of the titanium that you saw from the other ones, but I did a kind of test anodization on it. I think these came out really, really beautiful. Even the spots that are a little bit messed up, I think just add a little bit of color to them. Obviously went for that kind of purple blue look on it. And so this side came out pretty badly, but I think it looks different, and I like that all of the sides are a little bit different. Inside those dimples came out really well, and so just kind of a fun dice in there. So threw some dice in there. Obviously not a survival or EDC loadout, but would love ideas on specifically these kind of larger sizes. I would love to put one together, so if I get enough kind of recommendations and ideas from the comments of stuff I already have, maybe stuff I have to pick up to fit specifically in the containers, would love to do a video where I'm doing an actual full kit inside of one of these cache containers. But thanks so much for watching. Again, leave something in the comments below about how you use them or what you would recommend me putting in the various canisters and containers here. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and as always, I hope you have a great one. Take care.